Yeah.
Oh, we've already got people watching on this one. Normally we let that boost until, oh, no, there's our watcher. We have 0 watchers. So once we see a couple people up in there, I'll do my whole big welcome and blah, 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 blah. And then we're just 2 guys talking, tractor pulling. That's all we're going to be doing. So.
Yep.
Hey, looks like we got a couple of viewers out there, so we'll go ahead and kick off our next interview. Been a long, busy, fun, and awesome day of interviews here at the Louisville National Farm Machinery Show, Louisville, Kentucky. We're hanging out in booth 3194. We're here with the Beer Money Pulling Team. We're debuting the brand new Remedy wrap on the Diesel Superstock tractor. And speaking of Diesel Superstocks, we're talking top-tier Diesel Superstocks. I have my next guest, Travis Schlabach. Travis, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah,
how's your day going so far, buddy?
Oh, good. We got the tractor in the broadbent, got it through across the scales, ready, parked, and time to maybe go get a ice cold sarsaparilla.
An ice cold, a sarsaparilla. Now, if that's actually what you're drinking, good for you. But if that's code word for something, bring me one too.
That might be a margarita from the Mexican joint.
We love it. Cold drinks over here at booth 3194. Diesel Superstock pulling. Man, you have been fortunate enough to have some major success pulling in the Diesel Supers over the past couple of years. You're telling me a story off screen. You've lost count of how many times you've won at Louisville.
Yeah, I'm not a big numbers guy. We're actually trying to build a little new shop back home. I said, we need to put a chalkboard on the wall to wherever we win. Because, it's just I don't expect to win when we go to a pull. It's just you got to have everything in the right order. You got to have a lot of luck. My 2 championships, I had a lot of luck, and kept the motor. But I've always been one of those guys in business and life. Surround yourself with good people, and good things will happen.
That's, I just have a collection. If you guys have been watching this all day long, I could build a collection in my back pocket of excellent statements I've heard all day, and that's one of the best ones I've heard. Surround yourself with excellent people, and you're going to find yourself in a position to be successful. So you drive the Bone Twister, one of the most iconic paint schemes, one of the most iconic, looking vehicles out there. And you guys call yourselves the Boneyard. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Tell us about the Boneyard. How'd that come to be?
That come to be an old guy that got us into this. Denny Healy's my main mechanic back home, and he does a lot of work. He used to have a tractor called the Ambush Super Farm 4-1 tractor. And years ago, there was a guy by the name of Kevin Husselbus. He was from Western Iowa, and he originally had the Super Farm tractor called Mr. Bone. So we kind of stuck with that. He always talked. He said, I always want to have a trailer that says welcome to the Boneyard inside that. So that's kind of where the Boneyard pulling team come along. And Kevin got, and I bought that tractor for run a Super Farm for a couple of years. And I'm like, yep, I'm ready. We're going to make the jump. And we made a jump. We went from Super Farm to Diesel Super.
Right, absolutely. And I had this conversation on the way out to Louisville. There are some classes that you naturally transition from. You go from the Super Farm 640 cubic inch, you put a bigger turbo on it, and suddenly you've got a 4.1. Now, don't let me oversimplify. I'm not a driver. I'm not a mechanic. But that is something that can be done. But to go from Super Farm, which, as Miles put it last night at the show, was originally meant to be the economy class, far from it now. What was the learning curve like going from Super Farm to Diesel Super, one of the biggest hot rods out there in truck and tractor pulling?
It was steep, but, once again, I surrounded myself with good people. And I've told this story before, but I had no clue. I mean, when I said I'm not afraid to tell you, I had no clue what I was buying and what I was getting. And, I kind of went to some polls, what in that time, that would have been, we've had the chassis now 10 to 11 years. And, who's the best chassis builder? Tim Engler.
That's exactly what I would have said.
So I just call up Tim Engler and say, Tim, I need you to build me a chassis. Okay. Mail me a deposit. I mail him a deposit. I'll be ready in a year or X amount of days to build it. He calls me up, comes down. And he said, well, come down. We'll go through all the dimensions, everything you want, whatever. So I went down there and said, fortunate Dave Henderson had built the stray horse right before me. Sure. So I went up and kind of looked at it and learned at that point what a component chassis actually was.
For sure. Definitely.
We'd run a cast iron Super Farm with some frame rails on it, So we learned a lot there. David's tractor went down to Tim and said, Tim, why are you asking me these questions? You're the professional. You give me, So Tim gave me a lot of recommendations. He still made me answer. And I remember Tim says, what gear ratio do you want in the rear end? I said,
the good one.
the one that wins.
Yeah.
Well, I won't tell you what anybody else is running. I said, I don't want to know. Just put the one that wins in. And Tim, you know, then Tim supplied the transmission from ProFab Transmission up there, Larry and Lisa.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, you guys set me up. I'm getting into this. And went to Hypermax and, you know, ordered a motor.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff says, what cubic inch do you want? 540?
Yeah.
Said, nah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, and at that time, our rules, I could have run the 640 cubic inch. Because
I
we were
wondered about that. Yes,
yeah.
I was curious about that.
So I said to Jeff, well, if we're going to build a 540, why don't we build a 600? Oh, no. I can blow your motor up 540 cubic inch. We don't need 600 to do that.
This is too much fun.
So, yeah. So he just, Jeff took care of me, Hypermax up there, and they used to have a diesel dragster, and it was actually sitting in the shop, and that's when I actually finally started understanding how compound turbos work.
For sure.
Standing in their shop, looked it over, and like, oh, this is how this program's going to work. So I'm from the plumbing and heating background. That's my business is. So the plumbing part of it, and the airflow side of the turbo piping was actually something that intrigued me, challenged me, and that's where I feel that, you know, I took some of my expertise, what little I have, but and brought it over to the tractor pulling side. And does it make a big difference? No, but I like a good challenge.
Absolutely. And I was having this conversation last night. If you really boil it down to it, and I imagine that you might feel the same way, anything motor related in horsepower, you're moving air. It's all about moving air. You're taking air from one position and you're moving it to the other. So I think that plumbing background, hey, maybe that worked, maybe it didn't. The biggest thing I've noticed as a fan watching you, and you can say, well, Mike, you don't know what you're talking about. You just sit up there in the bleachers. I've never driven one of these amazing things. What background, we're talking a lot about motors, what background do you have in driving competition machinery? Because your driving style stands out to me as one of the most, the word I will say is competitive. You get after it when you drive out there on the track.
Yeah, and I'll give you that. Phone's going off. I just shut that off. I drive a little differently than a lot of guys, and I don't know whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent. Just for the simple fact of I didn't really have no expertise or whatever. We told the story before. We got the motor all put together, the tractor put together, and you know, Denny Healy, we roll that outside, and we're like, now what?
Yeah. Well,
he's got a good friend of his, Joe Bush. He calls Joe up. He goes, "Are there any tricks to starting these things?" He said, "Spray a lot of ether. Give her a lot of ether.
I love that John Deere ether.
You know, and when I went out, we went out to like a little brush pool over in Illinois the first time out, and I had no clue, and backed up to the sled and just did an exhibition hook, and dropped the chain in and brought the throttle up, and you know, they talk about loading the clutch and doing this and doing that, whatever. And my tractor will load itself. You just hold that for all you're worth, roll the throttle. I think that's why you see my style a little bit differently.
Sure.
But we got off the line. I remember a good friend of mine, Alan Moore, made the comment. He said, I'm impressed. He said, I just didn't see that, you know, thought you were going to struggle a little bit more. Is it because I'm good? Absolutely not. I'm just lucky. So,
well, I feel like you've been lucky a lot, though, and luck doesn't happen for nothing. Some people are just made to be in different places and certain things, and it sounds like tucked inside a roll cage with a 5-point harness is a very comfortable place for you. But don't sell your short on driving. I've seen a lot of times where you will put it right by the line and keep that thing in bounds, and whereas a lot of people, anytime that braking and steering comes in, lose momentum, it seems that you're able to get another 20 feet and keep going.
Yeah, and we're not, you know, I got a good helper, Jerry, that helps me, and I mean, it's amazing. And you know, I'll go a lot to where we're not scared to run the line is tires and chassis. I'll give that to Tim Engler. That chassis just goes straight, and we've talked about updating it, and just scared to death that will the next one be perfect? Don't know, and that might be better, might be worse, might be just as good. So for right now, we're just going to keep running what we got, and keep going, and keep everything right together. So we're not, and a lot of times, you know, I have the attitude, we'll hero or zero it, you know. We'll try that line.
That's how I would describe your driving style, if I were to put it. But you know what? We love that as fans out here watching things. And I bet as competitors too, that means if you're sitting out there and you're winning and you got the old bone twister sitting back there, that lead's not safe because that hero to zero move is always in that back pocket and it can pan out. So let's talk about some successes. Really, really big 2022. You were the points champion for the NTPA. 2023, another strong season, finished top 5, I want to say.
Yeah, I think we ended up top 5. We had some struggles in 23.
Sure.
We won it in 21 and 22. 2 years back to back, and we were content. The motor was running. That, I'll tell you what wins the points championship is longevity. You can win them, but you got to work on them a lot. But we had, I think I counted up that last short block that we had in there. We had 32 runs on it.
Sure.
And that's unheard of in diesel super stock pulling.
Yeah.
It kept being happy and it kept being happy. And so we kept running it and things were going good. Unfortunately for some others in my class, they were braking at the wrong time.
Which, and you never want to say this, but sometimes that's that opens up doors for other people in points races and stuff like that. I want to talk about some members in your class because to win a points championship in the diesel super stock in any organization, if you read down the list of people who pull in this, it's a who's who of future Hall of Famers. So anytime you win, you're competing with and against names like Steven Stan Blagrave, Esden Lane, Colin Ross, Kent Payne, Doug Meisinger, who you had an opportunity to pull against at the Pullers Championship, I think, recently. That's a lot of, and I'm sure I'm leaving several others out, that's a lot of tough competition to navigate. Are you guys all pals behind the scenes helping each other out? Yeah. I can imagine.
Yep, that's where, you get back after the pulls, and we've talked about this on media before, that, it's a race. You go back, we watch the class. As soon as it's over, everybody goes back, pulls their oil filters apart to see if they're going to run tomorrow.
Sure.
How bad is it? What do you got? And then it's usually a group effort. If you got everything you need, do you need parts? Do we need parts? What do we need? And we'll, Blagraves and Bird just laid underneath my tractor, helped me work on it. And I've been under his. I mean, we swap back and forth. And them Blagrave boys out of Texas, they're good boys. They're fun to pull against. When we go to across the scale and now we're in the pits, we're ready to pull. It's everybody wants to win. There's no real friendship. We'll all help each other, but I'm here to win. And then as soon as you pull off the track, we're back to being a fun class that we want everybody to win. And I want everybody. Just like our challenge here is, we want to make sure we got 6 diesels in the finals and no alkies.
I was just going to bring that up. So let's jump across. It's the duel of the fuels. We're flirting with bringing the classes back together, and we do it right here in Louisville. You said it right there. You guys want to put 6 of them out there. Pulling indoors, I would say even pulling modern, the classes are getting very close. I think it's at a point where anybody can win. Does it take anything special, or are there any certain alcohol guys you kind of look over your shoulder and say, hey, watch out for him, he's coming on strong?
Well, all the alcohol guys are tough. There's no doubt about it. They got that spark plug that gives them the advantage. They can carry more RPMs, all of that. Where we can do it inside, we pin them down. We're only giving them that 247 foot. So they got to get going. But as we seen a couple years ago, the weather really affects them down here.
Yes, it does.
You get outside, it's a little more different. When they're outside and running, checking weather. We're not in that program. So that gets us back with a little bit of an advantage on that program. But
and it's been interesting. The first or second year, and I could be way off here, there was one year where there were 6 diesels in the finals. So
I think the first year that Mike did this, we had a bad season that year, and we needed to regroup, so we didn't come down. But they put 3 alcohols and 3 diesels in the thing, and I remember talking to Mike with that next summer, and he's like, "You're not happy about joining the classes?" I said, "No, but Mike, I have nothing to complain about because you put 3 diesels and 3 alcohols together. I can't. Numbers don't lie." And kudos to Mike and the fair board for doing that. That was a great decision on their part. Then the next year we come down and we took all 6 diesels. Nobody would have thought that either. And then I think last year, boy, our diesel club, we sucked. I mean, I think Rooster ended up sneaking in there, but other than that, us diesel guys, we were in trouble. So we're coming along. And we'll see what we can do. But they're a great group of guys either. Brent Payne and John Strickland and all them. I was just having a conversation here with John, and we'll elbow each other. And Brent's always want me to screw some spark plugs in to make things go a little better. I was trying to get them, just as we unloaded the tractor today, to con them into helping put the indoor stack on. And Brent says, I can just give you 6 spark plugs and you don't need one. So great group of guys. We have a lot of fun, and it's fun to come down here because we're actors. That's what us pullers are. We're here to put a show on for them fans. And
I could pay you for that response because as a fan, that's something that I've driven home. You guys, that's what you are you making a fortune doing this? Or are you here because this is awesome? You're with great people and the fans come out. And when the fans blow the roof off after a great pass, that's got to be something special too.
Yeah, we seen it last night when Masterson's tractor came down there and laid one on that pro stock. I mean, how could that no Russ, when Russ come down there, you just, as a group, we all, everybody works hard. There's not one person that works harder than anybody else to get their tractors here. But just when somebody has a good class and the fans go crazy, it's an awesome feeling when you're down on there. But we have a great group. And like Vaughn Bauer, me and him were talking one time. Vaughn's like, I'm here to put a show on. That's what I'm here. You actors, you guys need to help me. We're going to work together to put the best show on possible for them people that are sitting in the stands.
That's some of the coolest stuff I've heard. Yep. That is some of the best stuff I've heard. Man, your passion for pulling and your attitude is just everything that you would ever want it to be. You watched the pull last night.
Yeah.
Did you see anything? And you can say, you know what, I'm going to keep this information tucked in my back pocket. Anything in that track that's going to make did you see any bits of information that you're going to say, oh, okay, I'm going to use that to my advantage? Or, hey, it's Louisville and you know what you're getting and you know what your setup needs to be.
In my world, it's Louisville and you're competing against Dan Christiani down there that's going to tear that track up, relay it in there. We're third class. I don't believe you can learn a lot from the track unless there was enough people. And then you seen it last night, the 4-wheel drive class.
Yes.
I mean, they went all over that track.
Yes.
And that's cool. I love that as a competitor. I hate it when we get a one-track track.
Sure.
Because everybody's scared to move over. Try the hero or zero. Just jump out of that track. It's either going to work or not. And we all know that, that I don't know why that track is, but it seems like it always wants to take me out the left corner. But you just prepare for it.
The Louisville left hook, man. If there's one thing I've heard about this weekend, it's the Louisville left hook, and it's real. It exists. So, but then how you combat that? Do you hug it and cross-track it? Do you steer into it? Do you just pray you've got enough momentum that it's like putting on a slippery putting green and you skate through it?
That's right.
So I'm going to ask you a few more questions before I let you go. This has been an awesome interview. You've got a ton of passion for the sport. Goals, I almost hate asking this question. There's an obvious answer. If you say, what's your goal when you hook at Louisville? Well, I want to park it in the sand and I want to win. But, you've talked about chassis, got 10 years on it. You're happy to be back. Are there little things along the way you're hoping to just get right or accomplish, or little bits you're looking when you go to hook out there?
Just to make a pass. Last year, like I said, we struggled. We had a little bit of a part failure. Stupid $50 part is what gave us 49 foot. And then I feel bad for the fans because they don't come here to see this diesels get off the line. They want to see diesel super stock pulling barrier in the sand. Don't get me wrong. That sand pile is intimidating. I sat right there and looked at that last night, and it's intimidating when we're going, and I'll be the first to tell you the tech guys probably shake their head at me, but I struggle watching a flag guy. But that is one of my goals is to lock eyes with Scott Doty this year.
Sure.
The one thing about it, if you're locking eyes with Scott Doty, that means you got enough momentum that you think you can get to the sand.
If you're considered that you might need to be shut down to stay out of the pile, you've got the right run going.
I don't know if we can make the sand pile, but I'm going to do my best to watch Scott Doty,
I love it.
But Scott's a great guy, great tech official, and he does an awesome job at that end. So that's our goal is just to make a run. We need to make runs, put a show on for the fans, give them something to talk about, and then let the chips fall where they fall.
Man, what a great response. We're pulling here at the National Farm Machinery Show, guys. If you're in Kentucky, if you're close, heck, I drove 6 hours to get here. I'm sure you drove more than that. If you're in central United States, buy a ticket, come see us. It's worth every penny. Travis is saying it right here. They want to put on a show for us. Come out and support pulling. Man, this has been a ton of fun. Anybody you need to thank or anyone you want to holler at before we sign out?
I got to thank my buddy Denny Healy back home. I couldn't do this without him. A couple of weeks ago, I was ready to throw the towel in. I'm like, I'm not going to Louisville. I said, you are too. Get over there and start working on your shit. So, he's the guy back home that drives it. And Hypermax gives me great parts. Larry and Lisa up there at ProFab, take care of my drivetrain. Mark Forth on these tires. We're working on these Firestone tires, and we kind of made some changes there and went after some Firestone stuff there and try to take care of the Matas. We call them the Matas, not the meat sauce. But them meat sauces are tough to beat, and I know it's the wave of the future. I'm just being a little stubborn, but got some, Cody at Corsa Data. That's another thing. We do a lot of data acquisition. We look at what we're doing, and change. We made some changes, some small changes. We're going to see if that makes a difference. And, we won the championship for 2 years, kind of got complacent. And, well, that dang old Super Rooster, he come after me last year.
You can never sleep on him.
No.
And I feel like everybody was just starting to, and it's like you woke up the pulling world and said, y'all forgot about me. I can still win the doggone thing.
The years we won the championship, we had so much fun with Kent and Sandy. We'd win on Friday night and they'd win on Saturday night, or they'd win on Friday night. We just went back and forth. And the only thing, that year, the only thing we did there was we wore them. We got luckier than they got. That's what we got. We got luckier. They had some unfortunate runs and, breakage, whatever, and that's what allowed us. So I was so happy for Kent and Sandy to win the championship last year, and it was fun, go down right to the end there and get that done. So we're just going to go and get ready for the summer circuit. We'll be out the Pullers Championship there in mid-May. That'll be our outdoor testing session. That's what's awesome about that pull. That's where you're going to see a lot of it's Louisville outside.
Yeah, the Pullers Championship. Come and see that one. That is the pull to go to. No
that's where me and old Doug Messenger and me and Doug have that little, elbow bumping relationship, and I'll try to throw Doug under the bus, and he'll throw me under the bus. We have a good time there.
I'm going to make this interview go just a little bit longer because I want to hear about that. So, all you NTPA guys kind of had heard about Doug. Doug sweeps the outlaw season. He wins every single pull. We get to the 2023 Pullers Championship. Were you guys all chomping at the bit to say we want to run against this guy? So, absolutely.
Yeah, and Doug's that's what's fun about our class is, we all want to be competitive, but we also want to joke around, elbow each other a little bit, and increase great things for the sports. And Doug's unfortunate for Doug last year. He got out there and he had some problems.
Yeah.
That's just super stock diesel pulling. That's what it is.
I spoke to you several years ago as a fan, and you had a great big dent on the side of your diesel super. And I said, hey, sir, what's the deal here? This tractor's always so slick and pretty. And you looked at me and you goes, it's a diesel super stock.
Right.
So it happens.
Yeah, we went through some growing pains with turbos there that 1 year, and it was hard on the sheet metal. So
it happens.
Yep, but it makes it fun, and we love doing it. And just keep on it going.
You keep talking about good luck, but you also say you surround yourself with great people. It's amazing how much good luck you have when you surround yourself with that many people. Travis, this has been a rock star interview. This has been one of our longer ones, one of our more featured ones. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us and talk with us today. Hey, I hope you're chasing that flag, man. I hope you're locking eyes with him, and I hope that you are considering being flagged because you're getting close to the pile.
That's what we're hoping.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Beer Money, for putting this on. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for watching, folks. Travis Schlabach in the Bone Twister.